Hey everybody, Adrian here. Welcome back to Blerd It Out. Thanks once again for coming back to the channel and checking out the show. And as always, definitely like, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. And don't forget, I got a Patreon page, patreon.com, Inazuma Studios. And for just $1 a month, you can support the channel and keep these videos coming. Now, today, on this particular episode, I wanted to highlight a certain book. If you're a collector like me, a long time, collector, um, it's funny. Like there are certain numbers that you remember in your head, of issue numbers. I mean, that you'll see in everyday life, and it instantly pops up what that book is. Like if I see the number 337, I'm thinking Thor 337. If I see the number, if I see the number, 181, it's going to be Incredible Hulk 181. You know, if I see the number 55, I think of Doctor Strange, number 55, by the inimitable Michael Golden and inked by the equally inimitable Terry Austin. And I believe the story is written by also inimitable Roger Stern. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this particular issue is for a number of reasons. A number of reasons. It's held in very, very, very high regard within, comics circles, because it's such a well drawn issue, and highly influential actually. Um, and again, this is 1982, and some of the line work in here is almost a precursor, a direct precursor to what you would start seeing later in the decade, in the 80s, by other artists such as Arthur Adams, Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, and a lot of those guys who would start using, a very much more line oriented, type of style, But one of the precursors can be traced back to here. And it's not just the art style, too. It's the storytelling that's in here as done by Michael Golden as well, But yeah, Doctor Strange 55. It's funny when you go to like the comic book store, or even check in bins or whatnot, you can find a whole brick of Doctor Strange comics, just a whole, stack of them, or you'll find like the long box of Doctor Strange, and when you're flipping through, you'll see almost nearly every other issue of Doctor Strange, because it's not like he's that popular a character, but inevitably when you get to here we go, and your spirit starts to rise when you're flipping up, 53, oh here it is, 54, here we go, 56, always number 55 is missing, always. And the reason for that is, the interiors here. So let's get into it. All right. Basically, you have Doctor Strange here. He's downtrodden. He's just. I believe his love. What was her name? Clea. Yeah, Clea. Right here. She's actually disappeared into some type of spiritual realm, or something like that. She's not dead. She just left, or something or another, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see here the quote unquote lininess of the artwork. At this time, a lot of the artwork, at the companies, Marvel and DC, was not as liney as this. Probably the only other artist I can think of who was maybe starting to kind of draw similar would be somebody like a Pat Broderick, when he was doing Micronauts. But like the type of lininess that I'm talking about is just how there are a lot of thin lines countered with the heavy blacks. You know, a lot of the Marvel house style at this time was very brush oriented and very thick line work. You know, not all of this minute, detailed line work. You know. And again, you really start seeing a lot of this coming out in the line work. You know, um, as I've heard it recounted, you know, when the book came out back in '82 or whatnot, people knew, readers and other artists knew it was something special. You know, just again because there hadn't been someone doing this type of, you know, particular line work. And you know, that's probably a good point to start talking about Michael Golden. You know, when he got into, you know, the industry. You know, his earliest books when he first got in, I believe through DC. You know, you could tell that there's something special about him. You know, in terms of his storytelling and his panel layouts and the way he was drawing his characters, but he still just needed that polish. You know what I'm saying? He still just needed a bit of polish and tightening, you know, of his figures. And he started getting that, you know, I'd say after his run of Micronauts, and when he came over to Marvel and he started doing Micronauts, and then there was a few issues of when they started the title Marvel Fanfare. I believe earlier in this particular year, 1982, is when you start seeing his figures and this line work start creeping in, you know, and really starting to coalesce into what we know Michael Golden as, you know. And I believe also on those Marvel Fanfares, he was inked by, I think he inked himself, you know, but Terry Austin inked a issue in there as well, you know. And Terry Austin, you know, as an anchor was coming off, you know, red hot, you know, of his run on inking John Byrne on Uncanny X-Men. And they were starting to have this style where you had a lot of this minute line work as well. So it's like these two, Golden and Austin, really, really went together. And so you really start seeing it come to the fore here. And did Golden color this issue? No, he did not color this issue. I know Golden during this time was starting to color his own work as well. So he really is becoming an entire package, you know, just in terms of, you know, drawing and the coloring. Like, he brings a unique look to his stuff. But now here's an interesting thing that I just noticed. I'm so stupid. All right. Here, I know I haven't been, you know, detailing the story so far, but Doctor Strange basically is visited by this wizard of sorts who says, you know, I know that you're depressed about, you know, whatever has happened to Clea. You know, one of the things that you may want to do is actually send yourself to the spirit realm, you know, to be with her. In essence, a spiritual suicide almost. But anyway, so he's going through this hallucination of sorts, and he comes across these two gentlemen here. And I never realized who they were until I sat back and thought about it, like recently, you know. These two guys here, this guy here is the artist. This wizard, you know, introduces Doctor Strange to his quote-unquote creators. And you have the artist whose name is Ted Tavosky, and the writer is Les Tane. Now, I don't know how I never caught this before. Those two are anagrams. Ted Tavosky is an anagram. The letters are all mixed up to spell Steve Ditko, and it looks like Steve Ditko. And then, obviously, Les Tane, the letters are mixed up, and they're supposed to spell Stan Lee, you know, and it looks like Stan Lee, especially in this close-up right here. And this particular panel right here looks like Steve Ditko. But yeah, I was just like, I can't believe I never caught on to that until I sat back and thought about it one day. It was like, wait a minute. But yeah, so he meets his creators, you know, almost like, you know, if you're going on a spiritual quest, you want to meet the creator, you know, so this wizard is really trying to get him to like, hey, that's the answer. Maybe you need to just take care of yourself or whatnot. But yeah, the line working here, as the issue goes on, you definitely start to see, the influence that this book would have on like future artists in the very near future, in the 80s. Like stuff like this panel right here, this line in this, oh, it presages, totally the whole, Todd McFarlane, Arthur Adams, Jim Lee, even Rob Liefeld, all of those artists, and the inking of Scott Williams as well. You can really see that, starting to be formed, like right here as an example. This panel right here, you see, these kind of beaded eyes that, Jim Lee would put in a lot of his work, when they were kind of, almost closed, but you can see the glint of the eyeball, Jim Lee would put a lot of that into his work. And just the lininess, you can see it when you start looking at those books that are starting to come out from Marvel in the late 80s with those rising superstars. You can definitely see how influential Golden is upon their styles, man. Like stuff like this right here. Oh, and this right here. This is all like Image stuff. This is all, that Lee and Williams and all of that. Oh, I mean, this stuff, yeah, totally. You can see it. It's a 1-to-1 correlation, man. So, oh yeah. It is crazy. I mean, look at this. None of this would be out of place, by the late 80s. Especially this line work and the coloring and everything. Totally. Oh yeah. And just, man, look at the energy that Golden is giving this. The bands of Sitarak, coming from Strange's amulet around his neck. Oh man. And again, I'm losing myself by not telling you what's going on with the story. The villain has been revealed. This particular wizard, let me backtrack. This particular wizard has been revealed as the villain, Despair, as in despair. And yeah, so he's behind trying to get, Doctor Strange to off himself to this spirit realm forever. And, Strange has found him out and, is now doing battle with him and brings out his magics and everything. And this is just, excuse me, this is just, yeah, it's evident. It's evident within these pages right here. Within these pages right here, you see basically part of the formation of that Image style, that late 80s, style. Yeah, man. So, that's Doctor Strange number 55 from 1982. Now, another thing I wanted to mention was that Golden also did a Doctor Strange portfolio, a art plate portfolio. I think there was like five plates, and that came out from SQP Productions. And I think that stands for Sal Quartuccio Productions. And Sal Quartuccio Productions was known for, at the time, creating these art portfolios by popular artists and painters, in the fantasy and comic book field of the day. So I think Golden had a set that he did of 5 plates. Now I don't know if this was in conjunction with his with this issue of Doctor Strange, but that was definitely something that he did. And I've wanted to get my hands on those particular plates, but trying to find a complete set with the envelope is pretty expensive. Very expensive. So, maybe someday I'll look across it. But for now, I think I'll stick with this. Doctor Strange, number 55. So thanks, guys, for checking out Blerded Out once again. As always, I'm your host, Adrian Johnson. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here on Inazuma Studios. And remember to check out my Patreon page where you can support the channel for just $1 a month. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.